Thursday, September 8th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. The news was officially announced about the death of our beloved Queen Elizabeth II, Her Majesty. Today is 21 years since the tragedy of September the 11th, and our thoughts and prayers are with all the people who were killed there. And our thoughts and prayers are also with the people of Ukraine as the war continues, but the Russians seem to be going away. Today, on a very special edition of Ben Shatliff on Sunday, we pay tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And at the same time, we also look at our new Carolingian era with King Charles III. Good morning and welcome to this very special program today on this Sunday morning when we all remember Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. When the news started filtering through on Thursday afternoon that the Queen was undergoing medical attention and then that members of the royal family were on their way to Balmoral, we knew that something was wrong. But also at the same time we were hoping that the news that we ended up getting was not that we were going to get. I remember coming home from work where I'd already arranged to be coming home early anyway, and I was with my two wonderful nephews, Josh and Zach, and we were explaining about everything that was going on. And I said to them, this is something I have never experienced before. I said, your Gangan has. I said, because he was around when George VI passed away and then Queen Elizabeth ascended to the throne. So this is something where most of us have only ever known one monarch. There was somebody on the news earlier on who said they remembered this is their fifth monarch. When that news finally did come through, like many other people, I was emotional and I was in tears. And I remember my youngest nephew, Zach, saying, Uncle Ben is upset. And both him and Josh both came over and gave me a hug. Even though I never actually personally met Queen Elizabeth, although I had been in her presence, and I'll tell you about those events shortly, it still comes as a great sad scenario. You still feel as if part of your life is gone. When I think about all the various different things which have happened during my own personal lifetime, with wars, with tragedies, and a whole variety of other things, unrest over Brexit, COVID-19, the cost of living, and even despite the fact that in Parliament politicians may be at each other's throats, there's always been one thing that's been there: our Queen, our royal family. And now that person who has always been there is no longer with us. And it is hard, it is upsetting. But from what we've seen over the last 3 days, we know and all already have that confidence that our new king, His Royal Highness King Charles III, will do a fantastic job. Last week on Ben Shatliff on Sunday, we discussed the fact that we'll be having a new Prime Minister. And Liz Truss won on Monday, and she met the Queen's last engagement on Tuesday. When Boris said goodbye, Liz said hello. And her first Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, had to give a speech to the nation about the death of a monarch who had sworn her in as Prime Minister just 2 days before. I don't know if it has ever happened before, maybe not necessarily in this country or any country in the world for that matter, where there has been a new Prime Minister and a new monarch within just a matter of hours. It may have happened back in medieval time or times before then, when I know people think about the way that things are in present day or over recent years, when things were more bloodthirsty and a lot nastier. Back in 1996, following the terrorism attack here in Manchester in June 1996, that began a rebuilding of our wonderful city. Later that year, I went to W.H. Smith, that was using temporary accommodation at a bookshop in Manchester at St Anne's Square, and somebody said they're there to wait. They're waiting for the Queen. And I've not, in fact, I don't know if I realised the Queen was going to be in Manchester that day, but I certainly held on. I didn't get to actually speak to the Queen or His late Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, but I was not too far away from them. And I remember, as he was leaving, Prince Philip said to everyone, "Happy Christmas," because it wasn't that long before Christmas, so it's around the end of November. I was only stood a few feet away. At that particular stage, there was none of the mobile phones that we all have now, where we can all take pictures instantly and stuff like that. But back in 2012, when the Queen was visiting Manchester, I was near GMEX Centre where she was visiting, and I was able to capture a picture then in the vehicle of Her Majesty and Prince Philip. They then went into the GMEX and the national anthem was played. I've also been in the presence of the Queen when I went to the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games here in Manchester back in 2002. And you could see the Queen from where we were sat as well. And I'm not sure if during that stage, when I was on the bus, if we saw a vehicle that was going into a potential area where the Queen may have been staying, but there was so much that was going on during that specific time. I've met 2 consecutive prime ministers, but I've never actually come face to actually shaking hands directly with a member of the royal family, and that to me would be an absolute wonderful achievement to be able to do so. I remember back in 1985, 1986, when Princess Anne, Princess Royal, visited a place in my home village of Simister, a place called Brookvale for mentally handicapped children and adults, and we're having a new swimming pool that was opened, and we're all stood outside school with our flags waving as the royal car went past. It's wonderful to share some happy memories. Going forward, as I say, as we now enter our new Carolonial era, it's going to be different. Even the words "God save the King," and even money and various different things like that. For example, people think I'm hiding my money now, but even that will change. Stamps, coins, everything, which is understandable. Even post boxes, a whole variety of things will change. And it was already noted that yesterday, when King Charles was swearing the oath, it had a pin and it said on it CR, Charles Royal. Over the next week, the country will continue to mourn. Some would do like I've been doing and have blinds closed and wear black and various different things, although once I've finished speaking this, I'm going to wear more relaxed clothes, but still wearing black. I am a traditionalist with modern values, and I respect that during this specific time, this is a period of deep mourning for somebody who gave 70 years of their lives. Well, actually, they gave more than that of their life to the country. So other people will mark this in a whole variety of various different ways. And of course, a week tomorrow, which is Monday, September 19th, the Queen's funeral, which will be an official state funeral and will also be a holiday for everybody to be able to watch. I, of course, will be watching the funeral, and even if it wasn't a holiday, I would still be making sure I was watching it. And I will go and sign the book of condolence for Her Majesty as well at some stage. I need to find out exactly where they are and look at some different stuff. So we are in some very, very difficult times. Before I go, and I have been playing various different pieces of music as well today, which are in reflection to Her Majesty the Queen. I just want us all to reflect on how somebody has done so much for us. Somebody that's been there at various different times over the last 70 years. I am broadcasting live, and I'm very aware that in literally a matter of moments, then the Queen's coffin will be leaving Balmoral en route to Edinburgh. But I'd just like, just for a few moments, I'm going to play some music as well whilst doing this. I'd just like to have some reflection for Her Majesty. Whether somebody is a royalist or whether they're not, just think of someone that has been there for this country for 70 years, and it wasn't initially supposed to happen. And I'll speak more about that in a few moments. I'm going to play something which is one of my favourite pieces of music. Princess Elizabeth was born on April 21st, 1926, and her uncle, David, who then became King George VI, was the next in line to the throne after the death of her grandfather, King George V. And of course, it's common knowledge about the fact that Edward married, or wanted to marry, he fell in love with Wallis Simpson, which then which led then to the abdication, which happened at Christmas 1936. And that then is when Princess Elizabeth's father then became George VI. And that is how the Queen ended up becoming Queen for 70 years. But something struck me last night, which I don't know if this has been mentioned before or not, but I thought to myself, could this have been going to happen anyway? Because at that stage, David, as he was then called before he took the name George the King, did not have any children. So would the title, would it have gone then to his brother Albert, who then became George VI? He would have done that, but would the title then have automatically have still gone to his eldest daughter Elizabeth, or would it have gone to potentially one of the other cousins that may have been in the line? Because at that stage, and it wasn't until recently when it was said that the eldest heir, no matter what, whether then male or female, would be able to get the title. So it could have happened, but not as soon and as quickly and for as long as what Princess Elizabeth would initially have thought. That's just something I wanted to share with everybody. Today, we will continue to mourn Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, and today King Charles will be proclaimed as king across the nation. Our special edition of Ben Shatliff on Sunday will end now. I will be back again next Sunday, but I will also have special programmes at different stages during the week as we continue our mourning and our remembrance of Queen Elizabeth II, our Queen. Just before I do go though, I just want to say something else. Yesterday I spoke at the rally in Manchester for Ukraine, and I want to thank everybody for the opportunity of being able to do that. But I also want to thank my friends in the Ukraine community who paid tribute to our Queen yesterday. And as somebody said, they said they live here in Manchester, our Queen as well. And the links between Ukraine and our Queen, with relations, the fact of being related to a former Ukrainian monarch, and the fact that despite the Queen never getting involved or making statements in regards to politics, when the invasion of Ukraine began on February 24th this year, our Queen wore the colours of yellow and blue, the Ukrainian flag. God bless our gracious Queen. May you live and rest in eternal peace. I will now say, God save